Tesla stock is sitting at one of the most important levels on the entire chart right now, the $400 line. And at this level, two very different forces are colliding: short-term traders and long-term investors. What happens around this price could shape the next major move in Tesla stock. So in today's video, I want to walk through the chart together and explain what the market is actually doing right now. Not predictions, not hype, just structure. If you are a Tesla investor, understanding that structure can help you stay calm while the market is noisy. Hi everyone, this is Ken. Today is Tuesday, so we're going to do something I like to do regularly on this channel. Step back and take a clear look at Tesla's chart. Right now, Tesla is hovering around the $400 level. And this is not just another number on the chart. Technically speaking and psychologically speaking, this level matters a lot. When a stock approaches a major round number like this, it often becomes a battlefield between different types of investors. And that is exactly what we're seeing right now in Tesla. Short-term traders are looking for weakness. Long-term investors are watching for opportunity. So instead of asking, is Tesla going up or down tomorrow? I think the more important question is this: what is the market structure telling us right now? To answer that, we need to look at three different time frames: the weekly chart, the daily chart, and the short-term intraday chart. Each one tells a different part of the story. Let's start with the big picture. The weekly chart. If you zoom out and look at Tesla's long-term trend, one thing becomes clear: the structure has not collapsed. Since around 2023, Tesla has moved from roughly the $150 area all the way up toward about $480. That is a very significant long-term move. And when a stock rises that much, corrections and consolidations are completely normal. Right now, with Tesla trading around $400, we are still sitting inside what could be described as a high zone consolidation. In other words, this is not necessarily the beginning of a collapse. It may simply be a pause inside a larger trend. Another important detail on the weekly chart is volume. When you look at the volume bars, we do not see the kind of spike that usually appears during panic selling. There is no massive flood of long-term investors rushing to exit the stock. And that tells us something important. The long-term structure of Tesla is still intact, at least for now. But when we move down to the daily chart, the picture becomes more complicated. On the daily chart, we can clearly see a different pattern forming. Lower highs. Let's look at the sequence: around $480, then $460, then $440, and then roughly $420. Each rally attempt has been slightly weaker than the previous one. From a technical perspective, that is the definition of a medium-term downtrend. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean the long-term trend is broken, but it does mean that Tesla is currently going through a period of adjustment, a cooling phase after a strong run. Moving averages also help explain the current situation. If we look at the 20-day, the 50-day, and the 200-day moving averages, Tesla is currently trading below the 20-day line and below the 50-day line. And interestingly, the price is now approaching the area around the 200-day moving average. This is often where long-term investors start paying attention, because the 200-day moving average tends to act as a major support level in strong companies. In simple terms, Tesla is now testing whether long-term buyers are willing to step in. And that brings us back to the importance of the $400 level. Now let's look at momentum indicators. One of the simplest and most useful tools here is RSI, the Relative Strength Index. On the daily chart, Tesla's RSI is currently around 40. This is interesting because it tells us what is not happening. This is not panic selling. When investors panic, RSI often falls into the 20 or 30 range. That's when markets are extremely oversold. But Tesla is not there. Instead, this looks more like a controlled correction, a cooling period where the market is slowly digesting previous gains. For long-term investors, that kind of correction is usually much healthier than a sudden crash. But to really understand what's happening right now, we need to look even closer. Let's move to the short-term chart. On the 4-hour chart, we can clearly see the behavior of short-term traders. Tesla has been moving inside what looks like a descending channel. Recent price levels have been stepping down from around $420 toward $410 and now testing the area near $400. This tells us something very straightforward. In the short term, the pressure is still slightly bearish. Short-term traders are still leaning toward the sell side. But again, momentum indicators tell an interesting story. The 4-hour RSI is also around the 40 area. So once again, the market is not deeply oversold, which means we have not yet seen a strong capitulation event. And this is where another data point becomes very helpful: volume delta. Volume delta basically shows whether buyers or sellers are more aggressive in the market. Right now, when we look at Tesla's short-term order flow, the delta slightly favors the sellers. Short-term traders are still pressing the downside, but the key point is this: the selling is not extreme. We are not seeing a wave of panic dumping shares. Instead, what we're seeing is something more subtle: short-term traders testing the downside while long-term investors remain relatively calm. And that leads us back to the central question: what happens at $400? The $400 level is important for several reasons. First, it's a psychological level. Round numbers naturally attract attention from traders. Second, it sits near a key technical zone where multiple indicators converge. And third, it represents a point where different types of market participants collide: short-term capital and long-term capital. When that kind of conflict happens, markets often pause before making a larger move. This is why I think Tesla may be approaching what we call a decision point. Not necessarily today, not necessarily tomorrow, but the structure suggests that the next meaningful move could start forming from this region. So instead of predicting direction, I think investors should focus on 3 signals. The first signal is very simple. Does Tesla defend the $400 level? If buyers consistently step in around this price, that would suggest strong underlying demand. The second signal is volume. Real trends require real participation. If Tesla moves strongly in either direction, we should see volume expand. Low volume moves often fail. And the third signal is the 20-day moving average. If Tesla can reclaim the 20-day line, that would indicate that short-term momentum may be shifting. But until that happens, the market is still undecided. So if we summarize the current structure, it looks like this: long-term trend still intact, medium-term trend corrective phase, short-term trend slightly bearish. All 3 of these forces are currently overlapping, and the battlefield where they meet is the $400 level. For long-term Tesla investors, moments like this are actually very common. High-growth companies rarely move in straight lines. They surge, they consolidate, and then sometimes they surge again. The key is not reacting emotionally to every short-term move. The key is understanding the structure behind the price. And right now, Tesla appears to be sitting just before a potential inflection point. The next few weeks could tell us whether this consolidation becomes deeper or whether it becomes the base for the next move higher. Either way, it's a very interesting moment to watch. So that's today's Tesla chart breakdown. If you found this analysis helpful, please consider liking the video. And if you're interested in Tesla, AI, and the future of technology and investing, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I share analysis like this regularly, and my goal is to help you understand what's really happening behind the headlines. Thank you for watching today. And as always, let's continue enjoying life in the future with Tesla. Before we wrap up, let me take a moment to introduce myself. I drive a Tesla Model Y, and at home, I've installed a Tesla Powerwall, so I actually charge my car with solar energy. I truly believe Tesla is shaping the future, and that's why I share the latest news and insights here on this channel. I'm from Japan, but I want to connect with Tesla fans all around the world. That's why I also create an English version of my videos. YouTube now lets you switch the audio into your own language, so you can enjoy it in whatever language you prefer. Most of all, I'd love to connect with Tesla fans everywhere so we can support Tesla together. I also share updates on X, so feel free to follow me there and let's connect. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.